So this is part three of the video, but it's a continuation of part one, where I was talking about the dynamics of the left wing and the right wing, or the Democrats and Republicans. And it's funny because, like I said, on some things, on which is the left wing stuff, when it comes to reparations, ending the Black Genocide Campaign, and the Economic Bill of Rights. Everybody needs to look up the Economic Bill of Rights, by the way. FDR's Economic Bill of Rights, and Henry Wallace's Common Man speech, where it details what should have been enacted before they poisoned FDR. They tried to kill him all throughout his administration. I'm talking about the ruling class, same ruling class that we're dealing with today. People might call them the 1%, the Anglo American establishment, or Anglo American ruling class. Um, Names that you might know them as: Koch brothers, George Soros, Kissinger, the Queen, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Peter Thiel. Um, who else? Who else is a ruling classes are the Mercer family, basically Bill Gates, Ted Turner. Just to name a few. He's a big new before he passed away. The Rockefellers, he passed away. Um, that's just to name a few. Basically, start off with that Forbes list, but then also go into um, those who head up these major hedge fund corporations, these venture capitalist corporations, and these banking cartels, both here and especially in the city of London and in Sweden and Switzerland and places like that. That'll give you a whole broader view, and also keep an eye on China as well, because they continue to try to become the new wannabe empire on the block in their princeling neo Maoist clique as well. So um, but I'm gonna break down what I meant in the first video when I was talking about the left wing and right wing, and how they try to spin both and make it seem like they're so divided, or there's such a difference. Because really, in a lot of issues, when it comes to the Second Amendment or the traditional black family structure, that's conservative, and I want those things to be preserved. But on radical economic policies, like the Economic Bill of Rights, reparations, those are left wing economic policies that we need. You know what I'm saying? And they play this nuanced game using wedge issues to try to divide and play the game. But you have to look at the board. But when we're looking at the Republican Party and they're called conservative, they're not conservative. They're reactionary and they're economic fascists. Conservative means you're preserving something. But when it comes to social policies, like the social safety net, minimum wage, New Deal economy, um, the standard of living, they have systematically tried to gut that. That's reactionary. That's economic fascism. That's a corporate state, which is the definition of fascism, or the corporate state supersedes the will of the people. That's an oligarchy. That's where the few rule, or plutocracy. So, or as FDR, which FDR is Franklin Delano Roosevelt, called them the money men, or the money masters, or whatever. He used to call them out all the time. That's why they always tried to get at him, and they ended up eventually poisoning him in the end. Um, why am I so bold in saying that? Because Joseph Stalin, who was the dictator of Russia at the time, or the Soviet Union at the time, even said it. He said it to FDR's son a year or two after he passed away. He's like, "Yeah, your father was poisoned." That's what. And so, if this is Stalin dictator, that means Stalin and his whole Soviet Union apparatus. So that means his intelligence agency gave him that intel, and the people who did it was the same ruling class, and the British U.S. ruling class of the time, U.S. UK ruling class. That's why also as well, when you hear the term special relationship, the U.S. UK, and people have to think to themselves, why are we so cool with Britannia when we were at one time at war with them? What made us so cool when their politics haven't changed? The Queen still exists. They still have a monarchy. They're still a super class stratified nation, and they're super title nobility. Why? What made their things? Why are they cool? Simple. What happened is a lot of their ruling elites use their political influence, their money, to merge the U.S.'s economics and thing into the Britannians' economics, into the Britannians' ruling elite. So what ended up happening was um, they just basically created their own neo aristocratic clique in the U.S. And since all the families were connected, New York banking houses, Boston banking houses, um, Hollywood Centers, CIA, which is mirrored off of the MI5, MI6, the FBI, which is mirrored off of MI5. Um, they just basically merged the two things, basically. And so it's basically that the US UK's ruling elites became one and the same. Not that the people, the rank and file people, became one and the same, because Britannia ruling elites, just like the U.S.'s ruling elites, are hostile. The Rockefellers and Rothschilds are hostile to the people, the will of the people. They hate the economic bill of rights. They hated FDR. They hated the New Deal. That's why they've been trying 50, 60, 70 years to try to eliminate all that and make sure you don't even know what was going on during that time period. So that's why right now, on both sides, you'll see them economically erode the social safety net. Though you'll see on the left wing side, the Wall Street Democrats, the non-populist, the non-New Dealer type. So you'll see Nancy Pelosi, who is Goldman Sachs, that's a banking cartel. You see Chuck Schumer, who's a Wall Street Democrat. That means, when I say Wall Street Democrat, that means you're a do boy for the 1%. You do their bidding. On the right wing side with the Republicans, you could pretty much say that all of them do the bidding of the ruling class overtly. So they're like Mitch McConnell, he's owned by the Koch brothers. That's who, and the Mercer family and stuff like that. And so they'll just reactionarily reactionary and try to cut all of the New Deal programs. But then on the left wing side, you got that same sort of thing. Clinton did it a lot. Obama tried to do it where they cut the social safety net, cut Medicare, Medicaid, all of that. Biden is the same thing. He's a Wall Street Democrat as well. So, so you got to look out for him too. Kamala is that as well. So that's what I'm saying. People need to become more nuanced into the political spectrum of how things work on both sides. There on the Republican side. The Republican Party is on its way to collapsing on itself. You have the rank and file masses, basically the foot soldiers of white supremacy. They're more and more becoming basically neo-Nazi foot soldiers and stuff like that. And so they're on the right wing. Now, when they say, "Hey, are we going to get the Republican Party back to where it was before?" They mean They mean that the elites will be controlling things. The ruling class will be controlling things, and they'll be able to do things the way they see things being done. So that's why they'll bring out a Mitt Romney or a Ben Sass or who else, or a George Bush, even though he don't really come out like that. So they'll bring these guys out. That's their rank and file guys. You know what I'm saying? Or Mitch McConnell. You know what I'm saying? But the radical right wingers, they're not good either. They're decadent too. But the radical right wingers are not the traditional Republican uh, Southern strategy type people who were instrumental basically in changing the Republican Party or the South from from blue to red, basically after the Civil Rights bill was passed. So, and that's what I was basically getting into. I was getting into the nuances of the left and right wing dynamic when it's just two of the same duopoly parties that work for the same decadent ruling class. Now, they may nuance a bit, but when it comes on to issues like, if you've noticed the stimulus getting passed, that meant most of the banksters and the corporate elites were getting most of that money. The people got 1,200, and most people didn't even get that. The people just got something passed for 600 for a bill that's 900 billion. That most of that money's going to the ruling class elites, and notice that gets passed. The Federal Reserve, without getting any bills passed, keeps on giving these banksters trillions bipartisanly, where no matter is in the administration, Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, it goes through unscathed, and the interest rate keeps on getting cut to its lowest extent. And why, may you ask, are they getting all this money? because even before this pandemic, they've been in trouble because they've been doing all this speculative, what was seen in the movie The Big Short, speculative Wall Street derivatives gambling that has now basically imploded their their game. Basically, the only thing that's saving them right now is all this Federal Reserve money. That's why the stock market is so high. Oh my God, the stock market's at an all-time high right now, or it's doing well. Yeah, because they got all of this Federal Reserve money and all of the taxpayers' money, while the people got nothing. That's why we should have never left the 1% label out of the mainstream thing. Now, keep white supremacy, keep that going, but then there is a chain of command within white supremacy. There is a hierarchy. It's not just there are the rank and file, but there is a ruling class, and they're called the 1%. So it's important to identify all aspects and apparatuses within it. It's important to get the Steve Coakley mindset where you name the names from the lowest ring of them to the top levers of these people. And they, do a lot of stuff in secret, especially at the top. They have all these Bohemian Grove meetings, Bilderberg Group, Council on Foreign Relations, Club of Rome, Trilateral Commission. Then they have all these Ford Foundation, Heritage Foundation, and all these stupid think tanks where they sit around and plot and try to destabilize nations, try to destabilize black people here, try to destabilize the rank and file masses of the people who want an economic base or higher standard of living. That's what I'm saying too. I'm like right now, there's no way that the minimum wage shouldn't be at least $15 to $20, like so people can live. There's no way right now that there shouldn't be a monthly continuous stipend going forward for everybody in the U.S. At least to the level of what the standard of living for each person who's living in their state has to live on, so that they can live. Basically, okay, it takes this much to have shelter, this much to have shelter, this much to live, this much to eat, this much to get transportation, and that should be given to every American, because there needs to be not only human rights basically, but economic rights as well. But that won't stop people from working. This is what it is. This is why none of this stuff gets enacted, because the ruling class understands that they need to control through oppression, repression, and through controlling people's livelihoods. Now, once the people have a strong middle class, once the people are able to build themselves up, once the people have economic bill of rights, they're less inclined to go along with the nonsense, which is good, honestly. These people at the top don't need to be running things. Look at this. Look at these right now, what needs to be spotlighted as well too is these pedophile rings. Once again, that these politicians are involved in, that these Hollywood elites are involved in, that these church elites are involved in, that the ruling class banksters and hedge fund hyenas are involved in, that these ruling class elites, the Queen, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Bill Gates, all of them across the spectrum are involved in. And a lot of these people have been covering it up, including Obama. He knew about that junk. He covered that crap up. Lunch Bucket Joe, do you see all the videos with Biden looking all creepy and shit, smelling little girl's hair? What the hell? I'm like, and y'all voted for that? I'm like, yeah. So on the right wing side, you have the traditional hierarchical Mitt Romney type Republicans. Then you got the new rank and file white supremacy, oath keeper, proud boy Republicans. Now they're all getting paid by the same ruling class. Don't get that twisted that they're not getting funding. Probably getting funding from the Peter Thiel types and stuff like that. Yeah. So those fascist gangs, they have masters, they have paymasters. They're getting help from the police. It's a chain of command with them as well. So, but they are not going along with the traditional wave of things. They'll talk about Planned Parenthood and countering abortion. That's a no. They'll do a little disruption thing, and so they're not going along with the agenda to the T. That's why the ruling class don't like Trump. Now he does certain things for them. He maintains white supremacy. He'll bail them out. He'll give them tax breaks. He'll continue their imperial wars abroad, but he says too much stuff that the ruling class doesn't want the masses to understand. He shows the hand too much. Talks about the Federal Reserve. They don't want them people knowing about the Federal Reserve and that these trillions and trillions of dollars goes to these banksters, All the people starve and get nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because that will incite what the hell? How the hell can a bank of the people be used only for the ruling class? Because then they'll be inclined to take that bank over. They'll be inclined to storm the Federal Reserve. You know what I'm saying? That's why these left wingers are so crazy. Like, oh my God, they stormed the Capitol. What's next? Imagine if they stormed the Federal Reserve. You know what I'm saying? They got all that loot, basically. So that's what it is. So it's stuff like that. So that's on the right wing side. On the left wing side, the Democratic side, you have three aspects of the Democratic side. You have the black base, which too many of them don't know and just go along with the slogan. But then you have the radical grassroots black base within that who want reparations, who want the economic bill of rights, who want to have the end to this black Holocaust and black genocide campaign, want to counter gentrification, and want to just change the reality itself so that we can have a meiotic system and live free and have the heaven on earth that we deserve. But that's in the minority of all of it. Then you have the Wall Street 1% do boy class that is unfortunately the head of the party. So you have a Hakeem Jeffries, a black guy who will do a little Tupac quote or Biggie quote. He'll quote Biggie in the chambers and junk. That's them doing cultural problems. Like yo, he'll quote his verse, but he won't pass anything of substance. So he'll play that game with you, or you'll have a Bill Clinton type, you have a Joe Biden type, a Kamala type, an Obama type. These are Wall Street Democrats, and then you'll have the economic populist wing of the Democratic Party, which is the Bernie types, but they're very small, they're very nuanced. Those are the ones who want the social safety net to be enhanced, higher minimum wage. They want Social Security to be enhanced. They want to have just a New Deal state, not the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal, that's something else. That's a co-op. I'm talking about the New Deal, FDR's New Deal, New Deal, New Deal. You know what I'm saying? They want the American system of economics, which is something that was done back in during Henry Clay. He coined it basically, which means protectionism. So you protect your small and medium businesses that you have to start up from large and international conglomerates who have low wage sweatshop labor goods that could flood the market and then basically destroy your small and medium businesses. That's why the new free trade sellout thing in Africa is such a disgrace. But I'm gonna focus on the goal. So basically that's that. So you have the protectionism thing, then you have funding using your national bank to fund not the banksters, not the ruling class who destroyed the U.S. economy and is only living because the Federal Reserve has kept giving them money because they're the ruling class. But you use the Federal Reserve to inspire and to build infrastructure so you can have jobs for your constituency, aka the black people who put you into power. You can have small and medium and large startup businesses that black people can own and take over and train and learn so they can hire their own people and then be bosses in the community and help to counter gentrification. And and then so it's protectionism, bank, and then and infrastructure projects and small and medium business loans and businesses, and um, also too as well. You also want to have a media apparatus as well. You want to have a media apparatus so that the media so that you can have a true media. That's another thing that has to be spoken out about. This media that's out right now, CNN, that's Ted Turner, MSNBC, that's George Soros, and Fox News, that's Rupert Murdoch. Those are all 1% bankster ruling class entities. No. You know what I'm saying? Hell no. And then ABC, of course, is Disney. Come on, man. And Disney was so instrumental in that Me Too setup crap that they tried to do, set up a new Rosewood so that black men could take the fall and then black women by proxy would have no protection. And then see the siege of what happened with that, woman walking by herself and getting harassed by a lynch mob, basically, that we saw during this coup attempt by these right wing fascists. So that's what I'm saying. So you have all of these nuances within both party dynamics. And since the people haven't been studying the history, they haven't been studying the politics, they are not inclined to peep the game. That's one thing that I want y'all to peep game on. I want y'all to study. These are the people I want y'all to look up. I want y'all to study the American system of economics. I want y'all to look up Dr. Webster Tarpley. Study that. I want y'all to look up Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, um, Tariq, um, Dr. Ivan Sertima, and then just go from there. You know what I'm saying? Just go from there and just learn, and also learn the political nuances of what's going on. Like, learn about the politics, learn about the true essence of politics, not what the corporate media has you hearing about, or even some of these so-called outside the box apparatuses, because some of them be off too. You know what I'm saying? And then discern for yourself too. You have to peep game on it yourself. Once you know the information, once you get a baseline, you can then see what it is and what it's not. You can be like, oh, okay, this means that, because they'll tell you, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, all right. Like when they'll be like, yes, there's an we're backing the Syrian freedom fighters. I'm like, what the hell? You mean the Syrian terrorist proxy groups that y'all propped it up in Syria so that you could overthrow a sovereign nation state against Assad? I'm like, it's stuff like that. So you know what I'm saying? It's like it's stuff like that. It's just nuanced stuff like that. And that's just me breaking down both sides of the party. Oh, let me also break down the political system in America itself and the history of the two political parties itself, and how party realignment has played a factor into why things are the way they are today. So, in today's realm, basically, you have the two party system, basically. There was a time period when it was the Whig Party and the old Democratic Party. At this time, the Whig Party and the Democratic Party were co signing slavery. The Whig Party uh, would have been seen as um, the so called more progressive, but not even, honestly. Like, it would be the left wing of today, basically. They collapsed because they couldn't maintain their hypocrisy long enough. And so when they collapsed, the people who were actually instrumental in starting the Republican Party, which actually came from the Free Soil Party, were black people. Black people created the Free Soil Party, which was actually what created the Republican Party, because the Republican Party were hella against economic impoverishment. They were against slavery. They wanted equal justice. They wanted black people to actually be free from tyranny, not just from slavery, but then tyranny in the North. When you are free, you're catching hell from the white people, basically, where you're marginalized. So, like, that was the essence of the party. That was the essence of the Whig Party. Once the Whig Party collapsed, then the Republican Party came forward, and then the Civil War really made the base of the Republican Party black people. The party of Lincoln, or the party really of black people, was the Republican Party, and the Democratic Party were the old Dixiecrats. Now, this started to shift because the Republicans made a deal with the Democrats, or the Confederates, basically, with the betraying us, who had basically won them the had won them the Civil War. They basically betrayed us, and they then just turned it into a basically what would be a white supremacist terrorist state, basically, where black people were just lynched whenever white people felt like it. But one thing that's not talked about a lot is a lot of black people did fight this bad boy tooth to nail. Like Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, there was a lot of black radicals who were in the field really putting in some heavy work and weren't taking it. They were going toe to toe with the Klan, this and that. Like, it wasn't one sided where they was just lynching this and that. Nah, the black people was fighting back. That's one thing that's not talked about, and that needs to be highlighted. Like, the black people fought this tooth to nail, and so when the party realignment really switched again was the when FDR came into power, basically. That's when the party alignment switched, because the Democrats, had always been the Dixiecrat party, the old party, good old boy party, basically, where it was heavily KKK-ish and this and that. When it became more so about the rank and file people, and more so about economic populism and providing for the masses, then things started to switch. Things already had switched under the Republican Party, but things started to switch on the Democratic Party. Now, the next time it really changed for real again was during the JFK and LBJ administration. That's when black people more permanently became part of the Democratic Party's base. The base for the Democratic Party before that was the white rank and file constituency. Now, the white rank and file constituency switched over to the Republican Party because of the Southern strategy and because of the Civil Rights Bill being passed in '68. So you see this flipping, you see the nuances, the political realignment. Now, the same thing is happening right now, but under a new game right now. The Republican Party is basically demographically on their way out. They're splitting right now. Now, there's a split within the Democratic Party as well, but what's going to happen with the Republican Party is they're going to collapse. Basically, the right wing radical types, they can't form anything enough. They don't have enough power. Basically, that's why they have to now storm the Capitol in order to maintain their sort of the rule that they want. So what you're going to see is the establishment Republicans, which is the Mitt Romney types, the who else, the George W. Bush types, the Mitch McConnell types. They're going to align with the Wall Street bankster 1% puppet do boy Joe Biden Democratic type. So you'll see them align with Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, Kamala, Obama, and so you'll see that. You're going to see that formation. You already started. You already see it when it comes to them bailing out the banking cartels and imperial wars. So you'll see that, and there'll be a split because there's a progressive wing of the Democratic Party, and then there's a black and power wing of the Democratic Party, which is actually should be forming their own political party itself. There shouldn't be we shouldn't even be around a part of the Democratic Party anymore. Honestly, like we should start our own FBA and independent black political party. But people don't see the formation of it, so it's like too many of them still don't see the nuances of what's going on. So that's what's forming right now. That's what's about to form. You're going to see the Wall Street Democratic Party align with the established Republican Party, and that's going to be a merger. The right wing fascist types either are going to be heavily censured, or they're not going to have a base to even have enough clout to even do anything, basically. Like, unless they storm capitals and the police allow them. The only way they'll maintain any real power is if they force the power upon the nation. But then you have on the left wing side the Black Power base, the FBA, the Foundation of Black Americans, the B1, the On Code Black People, Black First People, and that's the base of the Democratic Party. But that's on the outskirts of the black constituency because the grassroots black people are not the predominant force in the black community. The rank and file go along to get along black people are the dominant force within the black constituency and within the black community as a whole within this nation. So you're seeing that whole nuance. If you see the nuance, you understand why things are the way they are. Now, the way that the right wingers are going right now, they're actually forcing the go along to get along blacks. Oh, it's me, myself, and I. It's all about me. Blacks, the compromised Negroes, the assimilationist blacks. They're now forcing them to have to become more radical because that compromise thing is shrinking. That in the middle thing, that on the fence thing, that's going away. You can't be in the fence anymore because there's no more fences left. That's being torn down because the right wingers are taking white supremacy from the benign, oh, it doesn't exist, it's undercover, covert, and they're making it more and more overt. They're trying to push it all the way back to Jim Crow and beyond that. So that's taking all of the pretend boulets out of the mix, basically. And so it's now going to force a more radical black approach. Now, what that comes out of that is going to be interesting. Now, if there can be a party formation formed based upon the black people's newfound empowerment and newfound manifestation and newfound ideology, then that would be perfect because then we can go directly and seize power on all levels: local, state, county, federal. So and then even international too. So that would be perfect. You know what I'm saying? And what the Wall Street Democrats are trying to do, but it's not working, is they're trying to foment a new base that they can rely on so that they can use to basically cut our numbers down. So that's why they're heavily talking about the Latinos, and the Latinos are going along with it, but the Latinos want to be Anglo, so they're on the right wing side, they're on the Republican side, so that's not working. They're trying to get the Asians, but the Asians are on the right wing side and they don't vote. So it's like, so they're like looking around like, oh crap, all right, we got to use y'all. And if you notice, Joe Biden was talking greasy to the civil rights boule sellout leaders, like, yeah, y'all got to work with the Latinos. I'm like, Joe, you don't tell us what to do, bro. We tell you. This is a nation of the people, by the people, for the people. Shut your mouth, bro. And honestly, you need to be investigated for pedophilia, bro. For real, you should be in jail right now, man. We don't got no time. Like, dog, it's so much junk right now that it's so much nonsense that people are going along with that's pissing me off so much, especially us. Like, we should be on tilt right now. We should literally be at like this in a super rah state right now, where we're not letting nothing stand, because the ruling class is desperate at this point. If you don't know what's going on, the rank and file foot soldiers are desperate, and our ruling class is desperate. That's why they're so heavily like, black people get vaccinated now, now. And you've seen some of the people who have been getting vaccinated. There's people passing out, people getting all type of diseases, and people even dying off of these vaccines. So the ruling class understands what time of day it is. They understand what's happening right now. Their power is waning. The rank and file white people know their power is waning. The wannabe groups think they're gonna get a little backdoor in. No, it's not going to you either. The world is going back to black. And when I say black, I mean all code black people of a meiotic substance, and more specifically FBA. So that's what's going on. That's why everybody's so angry right now when it comes to us. That's why the oppression is so intense right now, because they understand the time of day. They have to be super intense because they're trying to break our will, but we're not breaking nowhere. If anything, we're getting stronger. We're getting more bold on all levels. We see what the time of day is too. We're like, okay, y'all getting bold. We got to be even bolder, tougher. We got to have a toughness of mind. It's not enough of speeches. Speeches won't do anything enough. Like, that's not enough anymore. Toughness of mind right now. We got to get more radical. Got to start protecting. We got to start talking to each other. Communication, like, that's key. Getting at other outlets beyond what the social media cartels can communicate for us. We need to have our own social media outlets, so that if they shut stuff down when it gets too crazy, we still have our own apparatuses. We can still message each other. We can still communicate. We can still transport each other. We can still understand what's coming, what's not coming, because they're we're at a everything's at an impasse right now, and they don't know what to do. They're trying to like play all these games and double talk and play both sides of the game, but we can see it. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to double dutch, basically. Oh, hey, we got you, but behind the scenes, hey, West Spruce, here you go, your gun. So, but none of that's gonna work. So I just wanted to kind of, this video was me kind of breaking down the both sides of the aisle, the political parties, um, me showing you the nuances of what's going on right now, and showing you what we need right now. Black people right now, we need our own political party so that we can directly get reparations directly in this genocide campaign with laws, and directly be able to protect all of our politicians and candidates who have the balls to enact certain things, because we already know they're going to try assassinations and stuff like that. But man, we got to have protection. It's not an automatic like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? I'm like, come on, man, this is some nuts, bro. I'm like, man, I'm tired of y'all on this weak junk. I really am, bro. I really am. That junk pisses me off so much. I'm like, man, we really need that Khalid Muhammad energy in all of us, man. Not just one. We don't just need one. All of us are the Messiah. All of us are the Messiah. The Messiah is internal. You need to raise your energy level, raise your soul level up, so you can have a Messiah within yourself. You are already on that. You know what I'm saying? And we also need inventory, so we can figure out what we have across the board and what we need in order, if things collapse, we have our own self-sufficient economy, we'll be all good. You know what I'm saying? So that's the plan. That's the bottom line. And we need to also make sure we keep things into an international perspective as well, because if things go left, China could try to be the new oppressor in the United States, or Russia as well. They are just as demonic and decadent as the U.S. ruling class. They're no friends at all. That's words of what's going on in Africa. They're imperializing Africa left and right now. Zimbabwe is their puppet state right now. So yeah, we need to have a broad perspective, domestically, foreignly, all other groups. Like, that's the key right now. Intelligence, debriefing. Consistency. Communication, and keeping the pedal to the metal and controlling the narrative. and moving forward action, always taking a step further. And everybody hit a different point of the reality. Some people might be in politics, some people might be in economics, some people might be in health, some people might be in media, but across all spectrums, man. It's how we attack the system on all levels, and attack not just by physical, but attack also by creating independent avenues from their control. So food as well, water as well, you know. So yeah. So thanks for your time, and share, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. I was about to say, tell your friends about me on some Rush Hour junk. I know y'all remember that line in the Chris Tucker movie, Chris Tucker's part. But yeah, man, share, like, subscribe. Jonathan Mark. Um, there'll be way more videos, and this is the start of 2021, and so I'm liking this era already, man, because it's our time, like I said, and I feel it. Everybody feels it. That conjunction or whatever that ain't happened in 800 years. I know the ruling class feeling it, boy. They pissed right now. They don't know what to do. So yeah, this is lit. So I'm gonna see y'all next time. Oh, wait, one more thing too. Um, I want us to be in a position too where we already have an independent black political party in the wings. We don't need to wait on, oh snap, the Democrats betrayed us again. They started enacting all policies that we didn't want, even though our black constituency put them in office. Let's have things in place already, so we can start voting them in and start pushing our candidates forward, so that we don't need to wait on them betraying us. We already know they're already set up to betray us. We already know Biden's word when he said, "Hey, I'm here to compromise." That's just another form of him saying he's going to betray, because 1877 was called the Compromise of 1877, or Compromise of 1876, and it was famously known as the betrayal, because they betrayed the people who saved the nation, aka us once again. Like, yeah, and they're doing it once again in 2020, 2021. So we don't need to wait on them to betray us. Like, let's be proactive and not be reactive and wait. No, let's be proactive. Let's get a jump on it. Let's start making moves of our own instead of us always being on the defensive. This is chess. Chess is offense, defense. It's our side to start going and making moves, man, so we can checkmate them. So let's get it. And thank you for your time. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, and it's gonna be a whole bunch of videos because I'm hyped on this, and, and it's our time, man. I already said that, but I feel it. I feel it, man. And ain't nothing can stop us right now. Nothing can stop us. We're unstoppable. Like, we are unstoppable. You can feel it. You can see it. That's why they stormed the Capitol. If you want to be honest, like, God, dog, boy, the blacks aren't backing down. You're like, the Negroes aren't backing down. I'm like, no, we're not. And they're not scared. No, we're not. I'm being honest with you. We kind of want this junk to go left. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I'm like, we kind of want this junk to go left because they can't stop us. And I'm not even just talking about me. I'm talking about the energy that's coming. I'm not even talking about me. The jits coming up. A lot of these jits ready to ride. You know what I'm saying? The adults, some of the adults are real. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, there's some real ones in the field who are just waiting in the lair for this thing to go left. I'm like, y'all are not ready for this. I'm like, y'all don't know what is gonna happen. I'm like, that's why the ruling class is really iffy on just sounding the purge alarm, because that's when things can go anywhere. And they know the history of how this nation basically was kept in tow. They know that black people won the Civil War. They know that black people basically forced the end of Jim Crow overtly. You know what I'm saying? During the Civil Rights era when we was giving it to them. So they understand that. So, like I said, once again, like, share, subscribe, and look out for more videos. Thank you. Bye.